أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على أشرف المرسلين سيدنا ونبينا ومولانا محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم وأصحابه أجمعين السلام عليكم ورحمة الله تعالى وبركاته. Alhamdulillah, thumma alhamdulillah, praise belongs to Allah for all that He has given us. And all His many blessings is what we are busy with today, preparing for the month of Ramadan. There is no better blessings. In actual fact, we are practicing a great sunnah. Amongst the Sahaba, they used to yearn for the month of Ramadan. So much so that when the month passed, for months, up to 6 months afterwards, they cried for the month. And the next 6 months, they yearned for the month of Ramadan and they prepared. So like that, we are trying to follow in that footsteps and Allah accept from us. So when it comes to the month of Ramadan, we know the famous ayah that speaks about taqwa. That the month of Ramadan is a month to instill and imbibe taqwa in our lives. And often when we think about taqwa, we restrict taqwa to the benefit of the year after. We limit it that when we perform salah, it is for the akhirah only. And today we will see that globally there is a revival towards looking after the body in the most natural fashion possible. And if we look at Ramadan through Tib al-Nabwi, which is the recommendations of the Prophet ﷺ when it comes to healthcare, we will have a deeper appreciation for what the month of Ramadan brings to us. This level of taqwa that is increased in every Muslim during the month of Ramadan means that every problem that you have, whether it be mental, psychological, physical, or spiritual, can be cured during this month. Therefore we find that the Sahaba found coolness in Salah. They loved adhkar, they loved performing wudu, because these are the things that brought coolness to their life. But today we find, because there's a separation between the sciences and our religion, we confine the benefits of this deen to the masjid only. In actual fact, we know the famous ayah Allah says in the Quran, الْيَوْمَ أَكْمَلْتُ لَكُمْ دِينَكُمْ وَأَتْمَمْتُ عَلَيْكُمْ نِعْمَتِي وَرَضِيتُ لَكُمُ الْإِسْلَامَ دِينًا. Allah says that He has perfected our deen. And as believers, we proudly say that Islam is not a religion, it is a way of life. Meaning every aspect from the time we get up to the time that we sleep, even how we sleep, has been taught to us by the Sunnah, by the Prophet ﷺ. And today we find globally people are hungry and searching. Millions of dollars are spent on research studies on how to live your life optimally. And when they give advices, we cannot help but notice that it is totally in line with what the Prophet ﷺ mentioned to us 1400 years ago. So those advices 1400 years ago, today there is scientific validation to every advice the Prophet ﷺ gave. Because we know the Prophet ﷺ's science was not a science of man. وَمَا يَنْتِقُ عَنِ الْهَوَىٰ إِنْ هُوَ إِلَّا وَحْيٌ يُوحَىٰ. The Prophet ﷺ did not speak on his own accord, except everything that he spoke was inspired to him by Allah, and by extension he gave it to the Sahaba, and it is advice for us. So when we talk about Ramadan, I chose the term to return to the fitrah. The fitrah, which is man's natural inclination to worship Allah according to the natural means. So the deen of Islam brings us to a natural way of living, in that it connects us to the cycle of the sun and the moon. It connects us to seasonal changes. And all of the cycle is in line with who we are. It is in line with how the body works according to the rhythms of nature. So we know that the Prophet informed us that if we hold on to two things, we will never go astray. So the Quran and the Sunnah. And we find within the Sunnah, great emphasis has been placed on health. In actual fact, the Prophet really would he separate between the health of the soul and the health of the mind. And when it came to advice, every advice he gave was a benefit to every aspect that makes you human. So when he gave advice, which seemingly can only apply to the year after, when you apply that, your physical body will feel better. Your heart will feel better. Allah bi dhikrillahi tatma'innul qulub. In the hearts, in the dhikr of Allah, hearts find contentment. That refers to the spiritual heart and the physical heart. Your heart pumps better when it does what it's supposed to do. And we'll speak about this from a scientific background. So we find Prophet ﷺ informed us that our bodies have a right over us. Meaning, we have to care for the body like we care about our iman, because this body has been chosen as a vehicle for the ruh. So isn't it important that the body has to be looked after? Rasulullah said that there are two blessings that people are deceived by: as-siha wal-faragh. It is free time and good health. The Prophet ascended the minbar one day and he began to cry after he made a dua. And the Sahaba asked him, why did you cry? And he said that after you have iman, there is no better ni'mah to ask for than good health. And we know today that with every act of ibadah, you require a certain level of health in order to perform that ibadah. The salah, tahajjud, to fast, you need a certain level of health. So therefore the deen promotes productivity, it promotes longevity of every aspect. So it's never a case whereby you excel spiritually but at the expense of the body. Therefore we find that whenever an act of ibadah brings harm to the body, there's compensation for it. There's a means that is easier. If you cannot perform the sujood, sit on the chair. If you have a wound, perform tayammum. So throughout the fiqh and the sharia, we see it's about preserving our health. It is about moving us to become stronger, to improve our quality of life. So we're not saying that Islam is against disease. No way. We know that Prophet ﷺ was the most healthiest of all individuals. He's right down to his sweat was completely pure. It smelled like musk. The Prophet ﷺ lived a completely healthy life, but Aisha anha reports that he has suffered the most diseases that she has ever seen amongst other people. Why is it that the most beloved of Allah will be put through all the diseases? To bring consolement to our hearts. When we suffer illnesses, understand that it is part of the journey. But the Prophet ﷺ also informed us how to react during that illness. Because that illness can be a benefit to you or a detriment, depending on our perception of it, how we view that illness. So what is Tibba Nabawi? Tibba Nabawi refers to all the advices, the recommendations for health promotion and how to prevent disease that the Prophet ﷺ gave to his Sahaba. And by extension, it is advice for us as well. So when Tibba Nabawi developed, we find that in the life of the Prophet ﷺ, there was various types of medical systems that influenced Arabia. The medicine of the Byzantites, of the Syrians, the Indians, basically all the surrounding areas, as well as the Greeks. But the Prophet ﷺ took many of his advices from the Greek system of medicine, because he found in that system, it was a pure system in that there wasn't any type of shirk when it came to believing how the body works. Because we know that the Hippocrates, which is known as the father of medicine, he removed superstition from medicine. In a time when people believed he became ill because of evil omens or demons, he noticed that the way people live affected their lives. So we find the Prophet ﷺ, he gathered certain advices from Greek texts as well as the advices that has been inspired by him or to him. And the likes of Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah, Jalaluddin as-Suyuti, Imam Dhahabi, they compiled a work, a compilation known as Tibba Nabawi, which is still in existence today, being rigorously studied by scientists all around the world. Not just Muslim scientists, but all scientists. Because scientists recognize that in the Sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ there is a superior lifestyle. So we find when the Prophet ﷺ passed away throughout the ages, the golden era of Islam came about due to the inspiration of Islam. It was the thirst of knowledge amongst Muslims that caused this huge explosion in Europe. The Renaissance was on the shoulders of the Muslims based on their love for the Sunnah. So whenever you saw the empire grow and you saw the Muslims flourishing, you would see that the Muslims were strong in their physique, they had a good economy. So everything could be seen. There was no aspect whereby they progressed in one avenue but they regressed in the other. We find there was this harmony throughout the ages. So there was an integration between faith and science. Whilst the churches in Europe believed that if you study further, it will take you away from God, the Muslims knew that the deeper we find out about life, the more we appreciate the wahdaniyya of Allah. The more we appreciate or we acknowledge that there cannot be any other power but Allah. So therefore today we find scientists, as they study the human body and they go deeper and deeper into the human body, they become more perplexed. Once they think they found a solution, they find a whole ocean of a new world, like for instance nanotechnology, going deeper into the atom, and they're finding that there's galaxies. As they go deeper, we are becoming more perplexed by the human body. And Allah says in the Quran that look within yourself, look in the creation around you. أَفَلَا تُبْصِرُونَ. Do you not see how the earth and the world has been constructed to perfection, flowing rhythmically throughout the ages, and man has no say in the matter? And Allah says, look within inside yourselves. And some of the physicians of Tib will say that the universe within inside the body is even more complex than the universe around us. So there's many physicians throughout the ages, and we find simply due to holding onto the Sunnah, there was a breakthrough in medicine. At a time when diseases wiped out nations, the Muslims remembered the hadith of the Prophet where he said, لِكُلِّ دَاءٍ دَوَاءٍ. For every illness there is a cure. مَا أَنزَلَ اللَّهُ مِنْ دَاءٍ إِلَّا أَنزَلَ لَهُ شِفَاءً. The Prophet informed us that Allah has not sent down any disease except that He has also sent down its cure. So therefore, amongst the practitioners or physicians of Tib Nabawi, we have a big problem when people say, or doctors say, that this disease is incurable. Rather, they should say, in my mind, I do not know a cure for this disease. But it doesn't mean that the cure does not exist. Because there are illnesses on this dunya that doctors cannot cure, but people are finding cures elsewhere. Because Tib Nabawi teaches us that cure and healing is not confined to a tablet. It can be found in any of Allah's creation. It can be found in a wat, in suhbah, sitting with a pious person. It can be found in various aspects. So we're not saying never use medicine. Use the medicine, but understand that your day-to-day activity has a big role to play when it comes to health and well-being. Because everything you do through the senses, what you utter, what you hear, what you smell, what you think about, either progresses the body, move you to a better place, physically, mentally, and in the heart, or the opposite. So Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah says that Tib Nabawi has a divine element to it, meaning that it is a type of medicine that is connected to Iman. And he uses the example in the Quran where Allah says, فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ فَزَادُوا فِي قُلُوبِهِمْ مَرَضٌ فَزَادَهُمُ اللَّهُ مَرَضًا. That in the hearts of the hypocrites there is a sickness, and Allah increases them in their sickness. And Ibn Qayyim al-Jawziyah says that when a person approaches the Quran with bad intent, for instance, a modernist or Orientalist looks at the Quran and trying to look for faults in the Quran, they will be further misguided. However, when you approach the Quran with a sincere heart, it will guide you. So likewise in Tib Nabawi, when you approach Tib Nabawi with a pure, sincere heart to follow the advices of the Prophet ﷺ, you will find healing through them. But understand, it has to be encompassing the entire Sunnah as far as you can. Imam Shafi'i mentioned that after learning or studying the knowledge which separates that which is permissible from impermissible, meaning the Sharia or fiqh, there is no better knowledge than that of Tib. Because the human body, the Prophet said that a strong believer is more beloved to Allah than a weak believer. Both of the heart of Iman is very important to Allah. But the strong believer can help himself and he can help other people. So it doesn't mean that as we become weak, it's something against Islam. Our life is about going down, about becoming weak. But when you practice Tib Nabawi, you can improve your quality of life at any stage. So the objective is to live the best life that you can through the Sunnah. So when we look at the Prophet's description in the Quran, it's described as a rahmah, a mercy to all of the worlds. So all of creation finds mercy through the Prophet's existence. He taught us how to live with our environment. He taught us how to live with animals. The Prophet is a mercy for your entire body. for your skin, for your digestion. Because he taught us how to look after our skin. The Prophet used to use olive oil on his skin. He used to take olive oil internally. He taught us how to look after our teeth, our digestive system, our hearts, the ruh, every aspect of you. The Prophet has informed us about it. So he taught us about balance, how to find the correct balance in order to cope with our lifestyle, in order to become the best productive Muslims that we can be. So the Islamic teachings of Tibba Nawawi is based on purity, taking the best that you can from every situation. One of the Bedouins came to ask the Prophet ﷺ that when it comes to illness, what should we do? Should I sit back and have sabr? Is that tawakkul? If I have an illness condition, especially those illness conditions where you can't find a cure, should I just sit back and relax and say, I have faith that Allah will heal me? Or should I seek the cure? And the Prophet ﷺ informed him that I love to be healthy just like any other human being. Meaning, seek the cure. To your best of your capability, you have to seek the cure because Allah has created a world of cause and effect. So therefore, we should strive seeking the cure. But understand that the Sunnah, the closer we come to the lifestyle of the Prophet ﷺ, everything that he did can be a cure. The Prophet ﷺ, adab, his character is medicine. Somebody could have entered this masjid now with a very heavy heart, ready to give up, with a huge debt, everything going down, no ends meeting for him. And he comes to the masjid, and he almost didn't come to masjid. He just came because he remembered that the masjid is a lifeline. And he entered the masjid, and he greeted somebody that's following the sunnah. The person took his hand, gave him a smile. I'll do a quick experiment, just see what happens if I smile at you now. Everyone smiles, and I had to push that smile a bit up. But everybody smiles. One of my teachers told me that you must smile even if you don't miss. Because it's sunnah. Because if you do that, it will have an effect on you. It will uplift your spirit and the people around you. So understand that the sunnah, in the minutest thing that has been recorded that the Prophet did, can be a major benefit to our life. So that person came to the masjid and he stood in salah next to somebody, and his iman was probably very low. Because that's the thing what happens. Our iman is connected to our emotions. If we're feeling bad, it affects our spirituality. And the entire deen, the Prophet came to perfect character. So his gentleness, his adab was medicine for the Sahaba. And therefore we find today, people that emulate the Prophet as far as possible have that characteristic about them. They smell good, they look good, they talk good. When you're in their company, you feel good. They make dua for you, du'as are accepted, they recite over your soul need, and it helps. That's because they are living on that level, because they are connecting to the sunnah. They look after every hadith that comes their way, they practice on it, and it enters them, it gets imbibed into their cells, into the way they speak. And today, modern medicine is speaking about it. They're speaking about character. They're speaking about people that are thankful, are happy people. So when it comes to insomnia, people having problems with sleep, doctors are saying nowadays, leave the sleep tablets, write down 20 things that you are grateful for. In other words, they're telling you to make shukr. And the deen is about, the deen tells us, that if you are thankful, I will definitely increase you. So when you're confronted by a problem, shaitan is there to promise us hopelessness and poverty. So the problem becomes maximized as the only problem in the world. And we look at nothing else. But when we resort to the sunnah and we know that there is something to be thankful for, and we start trying to enumerate it, we can never. And as you start realizing that I have more blessings in my life than that problem, it starts to overshadow that problem. So every aspect of the sunnah, coming to the masjid tonight is a healing for many of us. And for those that are sitting here with open hearts, Allah says that He is unto His slave the way the slave thinks of Him. So sit here with great expectation. Not because I'm speaking, because all around us there are things happening that we cannot see, but it's having an effect on your body. Scientists are recognizing today that people who pray, people who perform ibadah together in jama'ah regularly, are more happier people than the rest of the dunya. They have better coping mechanisms. There's no suicide rates amongst these communities because they have a lifeline. And Allah says that His hand is for the Jama'ah. So whenever you're drifting alone, no matter what happened to you, what you did, the deen never closes the door on anyone. So therefore we find, as the people into the masjid, therefore we find the month of Ramadan is a time where we can find that state of calmness. In the month of Ramadan you are confronted by the same problems that you are confronted with now. But why is it in Ramadan you deal with it better? You don't crack, you don't explode, you don't lose it. Because the environment is all about taqwa. It's all about making salah on time. All of our levels of iman is raised. So those people that cannot make it to the masjid, we are going to make sure we're in the masjid for the one. And whilst we're doing that, we see that because ibadah has become a priority, our lives become more smoother. Those deadlines are met, or we don't take it so harsh anymore. And it's found today that the Western lifestyle that we live, 95 jobs on the run, is harming us. So the advices that are coming out from research journals revolves around praying. They say connect to the higher power. They say connect with people of wisdom in your community. Go seek counseling by the elderly. Sit together and eat. Eat with your hands. Eat slowly. Make eating time a sacred time. Connect with nature. Go outside and look at the sunrise. Look at the sunset. Fast. So all the advices that are coming out to balance your lifestyle is found in our deen. And after millions of dollars of research and lifetimes of dedication to a subject, they come to a conclusion the Prophet taught us 14 of them. Simple advices that we grew up with every day. But it seemed too simple to us, so we brush it to the side. And today these advices are valued. So Tibba Nabawi forms the foundation to healthcare. Complete healthcare. We don't separate between spiritual health, because in Tibba Nabawi we recognize that there's diseases of the heart, the spiritual heart, and there's diseases of the body. And Tibba Nabawi recognizes that there's an integration between the heart, the mind, body, and soul. For instance, if you are doing something that you know that's not right, it causes turmoil in the heart. It causes worry and stress. And worry and stress has an effect on your blood pressure. It has an effect on your heart. It has an effect on how you concentrate, on your productivity. It can cause you either not to be able to sleep properly, or it can cause you to sleep too much. It affects your bowel movements. So understand that the deen comes to console our hearts. The Prophet said, "Ajaban li amri mu'min," that every situation of the believer is amazing. When something happens to the believer in the form of a calamity, he shows patience. When something happens of a good nature, he shows shukr. And both circumstances is good for him. So we find that no matter what happens, the deen gives us a perfect way to deal with that emotionally. And when we let our emotions run wild, then we lose ourselves. It affects our health. But when we come back to how the Prophet advised us to deal with the situation, we find that there's contentment not only to the heart, but to the physical body and the mind. So today we speak to people, many people talk about stress levels. We speak to 4-year-old children, they're also stressed. We talk about the work at school being stressful. So this is a term used amongst everyone. But what is stress really? Stress is our inability to deal with circumstances because we feel that we don't have enough output. We feel that we don't have enough resources to get the job done, and we can't cope. But what if we knew that certain things that we did in the day can put our body in a more productive phase and lessen that stress? In order to appreciate what the Sunnah can do for you, we first have to acknowledge that there's day-to-day activities that actually brings harm to our bodies without us knowing. And I'll just mention a few. Whatever your occupation is, wherever you work, in an office, if you work in a library, if you work on the gebouw, if you work as a mechanic, every job that you do presents risks to you, harmful risks. Either towards injury, bad posture, breathing in certain chemicals, inhaling, people busy with laptops for too long, the glare of the computer, the electromagnetic static that's on computers, radiation, all of it has an effect on the body. So let's look at the different categories of stress. You have emotional stress, so when there's a heartache, the body gets stressed. When there's a loss of a loved one. Mental stress is when you're trying to study for exam, you're doing a lot of mental work. Biochemical stress is the stress that happens within our body that's undetected. When we're taking foods that's not good for the body, it builds up biochemical stress. Environmental stress would be what happens in the environment. And survival stress would be just trying to make ends meet. But the biggest stress that we never focus on really is spiritual stress. And that is the stress that determines how well you deal with the other stress. Because once you are in a spiritually sound place, any type of thing can come your way and you're able to deal with it in a manner that is beneficial to the body. It is beneficial to the ruh and the mind. So let's take, all of us can relate to traffic. Sitting in traffic. The longer you sit in traffic, the more harm to the body. In terms of mental stress. So cars are hooting, there's people cutting in front of you, you're inhaling car fumes, you're sitting incorrectly. When you sit incorrectly, bad posture, it means that blood doesn't flow to the brain properly. There's a buildup of acid in the muscles. You find that you can't concentrate as well. The news, we are surrounded by bad news all the time. We are bombarded with information all the time, whether we want the information or not. So you're driving to work and you're reading a billboard and you see a bit of information here about something bad that happened. And it has an effect on you. So it's imprinted in your mind and your day starts off in traffic with bad news, with hearing noise pollution. Noise pollution is being in an environment where there's always noise. Whether the machinery is on, whether you're hearing cars all the time. At home there can be noise pollution also if the TV and the radio is on the whole time. So studies have shown that people that are exposed to noise pollution has a higher level of internal stress affecting their heart and their blood vessels. And they talk about having an hour, half an hour to an hour every day to yourself. To put down the cell phone, go in the quiet and sit by yourself and reflect. To think about your day. To take stock of your day. And when you do that, you can get rid of that negative energy from the day. So modern technology, overworking, the office environment has various risks on the body. And around the world they notice that stress, which is connected to our behavior and our environment, brings about diseases. So whenever a society has DSTV, microwave meals, 9-to-5 jobs, like the American model, there's a certain type of illness that they inherit as well. So the illnesses like mental illnesses, heart disease, cancers, diabetes, into the millions. So we find around the world there's a healthcare dilemma where there's an increase of these diseases, but there's not enough resources. So scientists are looking at how can they help people to live more healthier lives. And they realize that your behavior and the environment has the biggest impact on you. So if you do certain things in the day and you place yourself in an environment that's good for your health, to counteract the environment that's bad for your health. So just say you're exposed to an environment that's lots of stress, make sure that you break away from an environment some time of the day in order to balance it. So they talk about natural living. They talk about connecting to nature. They're talking about using water throughout the day to bring calmness to the body, putting the body in certain postures. They're talking about grounding, which is a big topic now. How do you get rid of the electromagnetic static on the body, the radiation, the free radicals. There's electric activity in the body, and there's ions, and there's a build-up of ions that are harmful. How do you get rid of it? They talk about grounding. The one way to ground yourself is to walk in a natural environment, so walking on the beach bare feet, walking on grass, sitting, going on a hike. And another way to ground yourself is to place certain areas of the body on the floor to get rid of that static. Because the entire dunya has been made to serve us. We have been created to work for Allah, and therefore Allah has made this dunya to be subservient to our needs. So we come from the earth, we go back to the earth, we live on this earth, and the earth produces sustenance for us. So the more we are connected to this earth, the better it is for us. And Tibanawi puts us in that cycle. So to perform salah every day, you are grounding yourself. To perform salah according to the awqat means that you are in direct flow with the energy of the universe. So there's a link between the energy levels in your body and the phases of the sun throughout the day. And we'll speak about that when it comes to the therapeutic postures of salah. So if you look at the study of the human body and you look under the microscope, you'll see there's a perfect design. If you look in the universe, like Allah says, you'll see that same perfect design. If you look at the way the blood flow in the body, as you're sitting there are over 1 trillion processes happening in your body to make you sit upright. To your body's feeling temperature changes. As the air drops, your body's regulating your temperature. It's sending correct blood pressure to thousands of arteries and veins in your body. It is causing the heart to beat without you even thinking. It is doing that automatically. So if you look in nature, there is definitely a perfect design. If you look at fruit, the Prophet loved the new fruit of the season. And the way he would accept the new fruit was to actually give it to the youth of the season. To show that there's a connection between the youth and regeneration, renewal. So if you look at fruit, if you cut up any fruit, just look at the design. It's perfect. No human being can recreate a fruit like that. But they can try to make that tomatoes more redder. So they pump it with certain genetics. But what happens in the end? The barakah of it is lost. And Allah says in the Quran that shaitan will deceive man to try to change the creation of Allah. So we find whenever we consume things closest to its natural form, it is the best form for us. So in the model of Medina, we see the Muslims living a life connected to agriculture, a natural life. Their lives are revolving around the awqat, having a perfect medical system, which is based on simplicity. And today we recognize that the entire Tibba Nabawi is a healthcare model because it teaches us on how to find consolement and healing through dua, through dhikr. It talks about hydrotherapy, waters, and its effect on the human body. It speaks about the postures of salah. The Prophet ﷺ, there was Sahaba who came to the Prophet ﷺ with stomach complaints. The Prophet ﷺ said, perform 2 rak'ah. So in the salah, there's benefit for the human body, for the mind, and for the ruh. The act of fasting. Fasting is one of the biggest types of healthcare diets studied today. And they've come to the conclusion that the best fast for the human body is to fast the way Muslims fast. Meaning to abstain from food and drink throughout the entire day. And they've also found that when you adopt the sunnah fast, which is fasting 2 days a week, you're able to counteract the harms of modern day living. And we'll speak more in detail of that later on. So in the Prophet daily activities, the Prophet mentioned that there are 10 things that all the Anbiya had in common. They would clip their nails, they would wash their hands often, they would trim the moustache, they would cut the pubic hairs, they would be circumcised. And every one of these things mentioned has tremendous health benefits to the body. We know the miswak is being used today in Europe. You find people in these suits having a nice pencil holder with a miswak in it. Because they recognize that the Arab tree is the only type of tree that gives off a substance that's beneficial for the mouth. And that happened to be the toothbrush of the Prophet. It is better than your Oral-B. Because your Oral-B doesn't release a substance that is beneficial for your mouth at the right pH. All the toothpastes we use either throws the good flora or the pH out. But the miswak has been shown to be of a superior nature. So in the past, people used to look at a stick and call it a stick. But today they're recognizing that whilst they are studying it deeper and deeper, the miracles of the miswak is coming to the fore. So now they're recommending using the miswak to prevent gum disease, to prevent tooth decay. And the list goes on. And also mentioned the use of olive oil. Today olive oil is one of the biggest industries for health and for cosmetics. The Prophet used to light